Guess what I did? Bought some new lingerie and I can't wait to try all of it on, especially for Mr. West. Do a little preview or dress review, dress show.
Dress rehearsal.
That's
Cheap
it.
thrills.
Guess what? It's time again for the May Wild West Show, the podcast where we tell the hedonistic adventures of myself and my husband in the modern American Wild West, where outdoor sex results in frostbite at least 6 months out of the year. The hubby, Mr. West, and I swing, sometimes hot wife, but mostly just enjoy spending time with our friends and having kinky sex. Our motto is, we'll try anything once for science. If you're looking for completely inappropriate stories and adult content, you've come to the right place, because this podcast is intended for entertainment purposes only and shouldn't be considered professional, medical, or sometimes good advice. The topics we talk about will be spicy, sexy, and not safe for work, kids, or your local PTA Karen. Now let's full send into today's episode.
Today on the podcast, we have Mr. West back from, well, at least he got off work sort of early tonight. So he's just going to help me out with this podcast. I was struggling right up until the last minute to get it all done and even come up with something to talk about. And so instead
Talking
of
too. I found that to be odd.
talking, I don't know.
That you couldn't come up with something to talk about. I was thought,
Oh, yeah.
no.
I know, right? I thought like I couldn't for like a whole week straight. I've been bleh, I got nothing to say. I don't know what to say. Which, I think is kind of connected to like real life. If real life's kind of a bitch and wears you out and you've got a lot going on, then it's pretty hard for your fantasy life to be on par.
Right. Makes it a little tough when everything else is crashing and burning.
Right. And just things changing from like the way they normally are to we got a new summer schedule and everybody's going places and just takes you, I guess, a minute to like sort it all out. But
yeah, it'll all settle down and we'll find a groove.
Which is kind of why, because I feel like we've been kind of, in a rut maybe, is why I bought the new lingerie because, well, you had said that you thought that I should get a naughty schoolgirl one. So I was scrolling Amazon, doom scrolling, just fucking off. And I saw one and then I saw this leopard print thing and God love me, I just can't help myself in leopard print. And then there was this blue fishnet bodysuit thing that's got like little crystal sparkle things on it, which all like totally me, right? Cool, whatever.
Right.
And then there's this extra one that came that I did not order. There's purple, and
oh yeah, I gotta love Amazon for that. Just dropping random shit in your box, not that box, but
yeah, let's don't do that. Jesus. That box, let's keep the random shit out of there. I mean, like that brings up a whole other subject. But anyway, the extra purple outfit.
For a whole nother podcast.
Moving up for a different podcast. So then the last one is this extra purple, one of those fishnet doohickeys, except for it's got different cutout. And the top is a tube top. And the bottom is these shorts that have all these really cutoffs.
Are they shorts?
Well, underwear.
Man, if they classify as either one of them, I'd be surprised. But yeah, they would just look like maybe somebody tied somebody up with a ham. So like a ham.
I'm gonna put them on.
Not with a ham. That'd be kinky as fuck. But
they just showed up, so I'm gonna put them on. Whether or not I'm gonna let anybody else see what that looks like, because I think you're right. It kind of looks like what they use to truss up a roast or something. So anyway, I thought it would be fun and I kind of just was like, fuck it. So that's why we got new lingerie. So
I'm excited.
Look forward to the fashion show. In fact, actually, I am wearing one of them right now. I'm wearing the little leopard print Vicky.
It is, and it's sexy as shit.
So that's kind of what's been up. So with us,
what's up, Doc?
And today, since I had no idea what we were going to do the podcast on, I, well, I told Mr. West that I had no idea what we were going to do, and told him I could read the second part of the stories that I've been writing, and he said, "Let's do that, and then I'll react." And I was like, "Okay, this one's up
So
to
here we
you,
are.
son." So I guess we're going to do another episode of the serialized porn stories. Did I tell you what this serialized is?
I don't think so.
Okay, so what it is back in like the 1830s, the 1850s, stories were, instead of published as books, a lot of times, especially adventure or like, drama stories, were published in basically like chapters. And each week a new chapter was published. And
like chapter books.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Like dime store novels were okay, because like you went from one episode to the next episode. In fact, like they became so popular during Victorian times that Charles Dickens, like all of his stories were published that way. And one of the characters was supposed to die, and people just lost their shit all over England, that they were upset that this character had died, and he actually had to change his story because people were like losing their shit.
That's crazy.
So I thought it was kind of interesting.
Crazy.
Because if I do it this way, I write short stories with like a couple of chapters or whatever. In the middle of the story, you could actually get feedback as to where you think the story should go. Kind of like a choose your own adventure.
Interesting.
I don't know. I just thought it was kind of interesting.
Right.
So I thought I'd tell you about that. But when I told you that I was going to try writing a story, what did you think?
I was all for it. I've been telling you for forever you should write stories because you come up with the craziest shit. And half of the time it's crazy. I mean, like, just unreal. And it's just like, I don't know. Your imagination is definitely wild, and it's always fun. So I encourage your writing. I think your writing is a good thing.
Aw, thank you. You're awful sweet sometimes.
Sometimes I try to be.
Right? So what did you think of the first one? Because I read to you the first chapter already. By the way, if you want to listen to the first chapter, then listen to May in Pornoland, episode 20, Seek Your Own Adventures.
Right. I really liked it. It wasn't too like graphic, like to the point where you're like, Jesus, that's like not okay or anything. I mean, like it was the appropriateness of graphicness, I think, if that's the way you want to say that. So
sexy without being super cringy.
Right. I mean, like it was relatable, followable, like, it's a possibility of happening in real life type thing. It's not like some just crazy fantasy that, well, that'll never happen to me type thing,
I'm not gonna lie, there's a small portion possibly of this second part that is a fantasy thing that could probably not happen in real life.
Well, I mean, that does happen. I mean,
I'll leave it to you to figure out where you think that the actual, like, the real fantasy world portion comes into play. See if you think it's the same one I think it is.
All right, sounds like a deal.
Okay, I'm gonna read it to you, and you can go ahead and like interrupt me if you think of something, so that I can maybe make a note or something if it's something that I think you think I should change, or if you have a question or whatever. That's cool.
All right, sounds good.
You have to help me come up with a title because all I got is round 2, which I mean is okay.
Fitting,
but
considering that it's what it's based on from a sports story, round 2.
Well, yeah, I mean,
we can think of something better if you want, or more spicy.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm thinking. So, I'm all nervous. I always get nervous. I can't help it. I gotta say these jokes out loud.
Right. You will do great.
So here we go. Truck repairs or gangbang, round 2. As eager as everyone was for round 2, I felt kind of gross and needed a shower badly. Mr. West sent me inside the house to clean myself up while they cleaned up the shop and finished up the work they were doing before I so rudely interrupted them with premium pussy, beer, and snacks. Excuse me.
Right? Bullshit.
Right? I sauntered across the shop like a stripper walking out on stage, except I was starting my strut naked. That's a lot of S's. I stopped and turned with my hand on my hip. I'm going to clean this mess up so I can be ready for another round. I suggest you all do the same if you think you're up to the challenge. Smooth and sexy as I could manage.
Naughty.
Smooth and sexy as I could manage, I stepped out the door and shut it behind me. Only then could I do my little happy dance and run across the yard to the house, not wanting to waste 1 minute of my lucky night. I busted through the side door of the house, and as I walked past the mirror in the hallway, I paused to evaluate my cum-covered body and my freshly fucked hairdo. I decided the phrase, rode hard and put away wet, pretty much covered it. Even though I was a wreck, it was still a pretty sexy wreck.
I enjoyed the visual of it all from listening to it. It was definitely something I could probably get down with.
I'm such a slut, I giggled out loud, pinching my own nipple to make them hard and more sensitive. Then all of a sudden, I was so turned on, remembering everything that had just happened so far, I reached my hand down my body, searching for my pussy, and pushed one finger, then two, in between the wet lips to flick a finger across my clit. I replayed how it felt when they fucked me, especially when they all fucked me together. My pussy got wetter as I thought of the look on Mr. West's face as I played whore for his friends. He couldn't have been more turned on if it had been his dick I was riding instead. I rubbed my thumb across my clit and stuck 2 fingers into my pussy, pumping in and out. I looked at myself in the mirror, all flushed from being so epically turned on, and without a warning, my body jerked hard enough that I almost fell to the floor as I orgasmed in front of the mirror.
That's hot.
Well, thank you. I looked around to see if anyone had witnessed my lack of self-control or body control. Thank God I was still alone.
Right? It could have just escalated things.
Right. Well, and I hadn't
Way out of control.
showered.
Way out of control.
I haven't showered yet. Thank God I was still alone. I couldn't wait for more of those cocks, so I had no time to waste on admiring their handiwork or playing with myself. I headed into our bedroom to find something sexy to wear when the guys were done. I rifled through my lingerie looking for something fishnet. Fishnet always says that I am down to fuck. Not that they had any doubt about my willingness to fuck at this point. My mind wandered back to the shop and the evening's earlier activities. What do you suppose Mr. West had up his sleeve for the rest of the night, I wondered, holding up a black G-string that went with the vinyl corset in my other hand. Nope, we're going with something easy to get off or cheap, so I don't care if they rip it off of me in their sexual frenzy, I told myself as a parade of porn scenes with me as the star ran through my head.
I'm cheap and easy, too, just in case anybody's wondering.
You are. After several minutes of digging, I found a black fishnet bodysuit, cheap and easy to get off, and laid it there on the bed with some more lube for later. I hurried towards the bathroom and walked into the giant shower Mr. West had insisted we get when we built the house. It was a vast tiled shower room attached to the bathroom that was visible through the glass doors that kept the heat and the steam in. I had thought it was an unnecessary and ridiculous expense, but now I couldn't imagine living without the multiple shower heads on either end and the rainfall head in the center. He had a hose with a spray head installed on the wall in the center to wash the shower or the dog or whatever, but I had found other uses for the multiple spray patterns. Safe to say I had the cleanest pussy in 3 counties. We always showered together, so he had made it spacious for extracurricular activities and friends, but it was big enough for the entire football team. That's an idea. I shrugged, but quickly put the thought on the back burner for later and started the water. Steam soon filled the shower. I could hardly see through the glass doors to the rest of the bathroom. A few minutes and lots of soap later, I heard a faint noise in the bedroom as I was finishing washing my hair and assumed that my hubby had decided to grab everyone some shorts or sweats to wear while they waited for me. Or at least that was the reasonable assumption, but I was definitely wrong. I found out exactly how wrong it was when I opened my eyes after washing the shampoo out of my hair and was once more naked, surrounded by 4 guys. My super lucky day. What do I owe the honor of your presence in my shower? I asked, flipping him some serious shit. I was telling the guys that you suck cock better in the shower than you do out of it, and they didn't believe me. I was defending your honor, Mr. West replied solemnly, but none could hold in their laughs. The other thing they couldn't seem to stop was their dicks rising into attention as they watched the soap bubbles slide down my naked body. I reached across the shower and stroked the iron rod between each man's legs, one by one. Slowly, I sank to my knees in front of the closest one, who was, of course, Matt. He had several of my blowjobs, but never a shower blowjob. There was something about the way the water ran off a man's body and the warm steaminess of the shower that made them so much hotter. Also, the taste of freshly washed cock is almost better than chocolate, and if it's well groomed, then I can't wait to get it in my mouth. Oof, good to drink.
See, she always wants something in her mouth.
Right? I grabbed his heart.
I got something for you.
How afterwards? I'm probably sure you're gonna want to do it afterwards, okay?
Maybe.
Well, let's call it an offer.
All right, sounds like a deal.
I grabbed his hard stick at the base and lowered my mouth to take a lick of the water beaded on the head. Yummy, I thought, but out loud I moaned real low like sucking cock was getting me wet. Partially because it was, but also because it vibrated everything my tongue and lips were touching and caused the muscles in his thighs to go almost rock hard as the dick in my mouth. Then I pulled out all the stops. The twirly hand technique, the porn star drooling, gagging, and the few that are super secret before he tapped out. Okay. Shower blowjobs are much better than regular ones. I still want to fuck you some more, so take it easy, soul sucker. I looked up at them victoriously with a predatory glint in my eye, trying to decide who would be my next victim. I knew that Shane would be perfect, so I crawled across the shower floor to his feet with my ass in the air and exposed for a few spanks, which I got from everyone. I looked up at Shane as I played with his balls, licking them and lightly sucking before I grasped his cock with the other hand and slowly worked his entire length into my mouth, in and out. Occasionally a little gagging, but with a steady rhythm that had him unexpectedly shooting thick ropes of cum in my mouth and all over my face, but never going soft, so I continued to suck on him until he pulled away because the feeling of my tongue rubbing the head was too much for him to handle.
That's a lot.
Right? That's kind of fun. I can feel a little evil when I do it, but it makes me giggle.
Naughty.
As I rinsed my face, I smarted off to Sam. 2 down, 1 to go. Guess you're up, Buttercup. After the last 2 performances, he should have looked more worried, but he just smirked down at me, or at least that's what I thought he was doing. I was busy staring at this impressive tool. At that moment, I decided he was going to be named Mr. Pringles in my phone, because a Pringles can could have doubled for a condom for that monster. Okay, I was entirely exaggerating, but it was large enough that I wondered how I had taken him in my ass so easily earlier. I guess that's just the power of good dick.
It is.
Right? It's impressive what you can do for good dick. Or what
right?
you will do.
Well, I don't know. I've never, thought about it, but, for you, yes.
Right? I got told I needed to quit thinking with my vagina.
Right?
But if I had, I wouldn't have married you.
Facts.
Right? So I reached out with both hands and then put my mouth over the head, lubricating it with my spit to make it easier to stretch my mouth around, and I went to town giving him my best big dick blowjob. I couldn't let Mr. West down when he bragged me up. Nothing seemed to be working until I happened to be licking and sucking on his testicles when I thought, why not? And slowly licked backwards towards his ass. It was like I had hooked his nipples up to a car battery because his dick got even harder and a slight moan slipped out. Never one to miss an opportunity, I smiled up at him evilly and then licked his ass like it was the last ice cream cone on earth, while I used one hand to stroke up and down the length of him. I win, I chirped up from the floor as Sam tapped out.
High five for violent sex crimes.
Right? Lastly, I turned to Mr. West and crawled towards my husband, who had been watching me suck dick for the last however long. When I got close, I reached for his to put it in my mouth, but he stopped me, wrapping his hand around the front of my throat. He pulled me to my knees where he could reach my pussy with the other hand. You're soaking wet, and I can tell this isn't shower wet. Do you want me to make you come? He asked me. I didn't want to answer him, but I knew what he wanted, and he liked to hear me beg a little. Yes, Daddy.
Sometimes.
Make me come? Then he held me tightly against him and finger fucked me as I thrashed around like a person having a seizure. The orgasm came one after another, more brutal than the last, and finally he made me squirt like a fountain. That was what he was looking for. So he gently let go of my throat and helped me as I slid to the floor and lay there trying to catch my breath. I looked up, expecting to see sympathy for my plight, but instead they all looked hungry like a pack of wolves and I was the last deer in the forest. I had teased the guys for too long, and they were ready to get even with me. The funny part was that I was more than okay with whatever kinky plan they had cooked up before joining me in the shower. I trusted Mr. West not to let the shenanigans go too far, and really, how kinky could they be?
Well, I don't know. About as kinky as you'd let me, I guess.
Yeah, I know you. I meant the other guys.
Oh,
Yeah, no, I meant like as a group,
probably fairly kinky.
right? It was so supposed to be kind of like a joke. The problem is like I'm having a hard time figuring out exactly like what to do in the next episode because you don't want to be like, you're doing too much, bro.
Right?
So I mean, like probably whips and chains is excessive,
Probably. I would say that whips and chains might be a little much.
right? Like I mean, like for a first time of a gangbang, whatever. I would think whips and chains probably over the top.
Whips and chains and a donkey show. I mean, that could just be
Jesus.
that's way too far. Way too
Yeah,
far.
like talk about 0 to like 300.
Not
That escalated quickly.
gonna lie, for science, I want to watch it once.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
Really?
Yeah, I want to go to Mexico and watch it just once. I'll probably throw up and be like revolted, but I just, I got to do it, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that one might be like a hard pass for me. Like,
Yeah, I don't know. I still want to go. I think I still want to go.
yeah, I mean, the science, I guess I could see where you're at. I mean,
Science isn't about why, it's about why not.
I mean, like I said, might be just puking trying not to puke the whole time, but at least, you can be like, fuck, I went to a donkey show once.
that's a story. I don't know
That's a
exactly who
fucking
you
story.
tell that story to.
It's just random people.
Yeah, just not random people who are gonna know your name.
Well, I mean, like, I'm not really embarrassed about like actually like going to one just for science like that. That's like if I was going there to get on the front row and start throwing dollar bills and jerking off, then fuck, probably got a
God,
problem.
this has gone horribly awry.
I would like to get off your wild ride.
Right. Okay. Back on topic here. What?
Okay, so, how far is too far if you exclude that whole conversation from the thought process? It's
I
like,
don't think in a story.
yeah, like I mean, like I'm thinking,
I don't.
like for
I
the
don't
next
think it's
part, like I'm thinking, like in my fantasy whatever world in my head, at minimum there was always a part that where I had a mask on, like I couldn't see, like a blindfold.
blindfold. Okay. Okay.
Now, so then you
get-
start going kind of like 50 Shades of Grey, and I'm not like a super expert in 50 Shades of Grey, so I don't want to like try and be right in the story where I'm.
It might be kind of fun, if we take you out to the shop and we, you're handcuffed and maybe like you hog tied in a way of sorts that we can put you on
The engine
winch
noise?
and yeah, on the winch and winch you up and then just spin you around and take turns, while you're
That-
blindfolded.
That's not a bad idea.
That could be fun.
Yeah. That's not a bad idea. I do like the whole winch up in the air thing. Like,
And then the Snap-on guy shows up and he's like, "Oh shit, I'm used to this fucking." Anyways, sorry.
I don't think we'll like add the Snap-on guy. I mean, we did say it was at night. I mean, like, I
True.
don't think that. I mean, they'll go a long ways to get you to spend money on their trucks, but I don't think that's necessary. So, what do you think of the story? Like this one? Like, what first impression overall?
First impression, it left you wondering what was going to happen next for sure. Because I hadn't read it or heard it. So for me, it was the first time. I mean, like I actually sat and wanted to go, okay, well, what's going to happen next? I mean, like, so it was engaging. I'm not much of I guess a sex story reader, so it's not my thing, but it's something that I enjoyed listening to. And I guess it's not, the kind of the thinking about that actually happening seems like a lot of fun. So it's easy and it being you, my wife, kind of makes it more intriguing.
That's a good answer. Way to go. I'm impressed. Like,
I tried.
Professor West.
Professor West, shit.
Okay, so what part of it stands out? Good or bad? Like if
I don't really think can't think of anything bad. So there's that. But I mean, like as far as like what stands out, I like the setup to the shower scene. It's a good setup. It's a good lead in to it. I mean, because I didn't expect like all four, I thought like he was coming in for the same thing. Yeah, I was like, oh, he's probably coming in there for it's just, just me. But no, it's the whole gang. So yeah, gang banged.
gang bang. Except for it
Uh,
wasn't even a gang bang. It was a gang blow job.
what do they call them? They call them
Blow bang,
blow bangs.
blow bang.
It was a blow bang. It was a good
I'm
one.
not gonna lie.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I mean, the part that I did put in there that was like reality is that if I was gonna have to give that many blowjobs, somebody was giving me an orgasm there.
Right. And
So
she
that was reality.
absolutely, I mean, like in its reality, like basically how it went down. I mean, like you love to have shower orgasms. It's because you're not afraid to make a mess. You don't care if there's a mess because the mess is, he's just gonna run away with the water. So you kind of let go and enjoy the orgasms more. And
Yeah.
definitely blowjobs are better. I mean, like, and you definitely are not afraid to lick ass. I mean, like if it's clean. And so yeah, I mean, like it was I
Oh,
you know I got a little bit of a chubby.
did you?
Like
Ooh.
recounting this, I'm kind of sitting over here going, damn.
Ooh. Okay, so here's the thing I was wondering about it.
All right.
Like there's nobody has any sex. Like it's like is it too long of a description or anything about like giving a blowjob?
I don't see. That's just it. Is I mean, like I thought about that when I thought about that, and I'm like, I don't. I mean, like it's not even like my type of scene. Like as far as like if I was to go and seek out a porn, but I mean, like hearing you read it and tell the story, it was like no. I thought it was. I don't think it was too long. I liked it.
Okay.
I mean, maybe I'm biased, and if you don't like it, then fuck you.
Chivalry is not dead.
Right?
Look at this distinguished gentleman.
Dude, I think your idea, like I think the whole hoisting them up in the air and stuff, I think that's where we should all go.
Right? That could be
That's
fun.
brilliant. So did you come up with a better title for it?
Um, yeah.
I know, right? Like I just
Round two sounds good because of the whole storyline, but I mean, like you're right, it kind of is boring. So I mean, like you could even go like round two. Uh, my poor knees.
that's funny. My poor knees. I'm gonna write that down. That's funny. My poor knees.
Every once in a while, I make it funny.
Oh, yeah!
Dude, you know what? If I ever actually did that, I think I would get myself some of them contractors knee pads.
Right?
Um,
I mean, like it wouldn't be a bad thing.
Well, I mean, like you don't want to have like
Or
volleyball
like
ones because
those
they're soft.
not
Like,
volleyball. Yeah, not volleyball. I was thinking roller derby.
oh
Some
yeah,
roller
roller
derby
derby
ones
girl,
because those are cool looking
right?
and they're kind of thin and not bulky and shit. So they're kind of meant for girls. I mean, like I think it'd be sexy. You could do a total like roller derby, maybe thing or something out of it. I don't know, like in the shower at the gym, all
There you go.
bunch of strange guys.
That's a thing too. Like that's a kink is like or a genre. I don't know, whatever you call it, category is is stories about people doing gangbangs in like gym locker rooms. Like
See,
it's a
that
whole
wouldn't be too bad. See,
category.
gym locker rooms, I don't think, I mean, if you're like at a more upscale place, more, especially, I don't think that they're clean. So, I mean, it's not like doing it in the public, fucking restroom in the park or at the gas station where the guy outside, died 3 times last week from overdosing on crack or
Yeah,
whatever.
dude, you should definitely. I'm not all about that specific.
Dude, I've seen some porns that are fucking sketchy, like Jesus
Oh
Christ,
yeah, that's
It's like that. It's like that one meme that's been circulating on Facebook for a few years, from the gas station sign that says, please quit leaving dead hookers in the bathroom.
oh my God.
That's the vibe I got from a few of those porns.
Yeesh.
Anyways, weird.
Right? Yeah. So anyway, I'm all kind of excited to try and finish writing the third part of the story.
Right? Me too. I'm excited I'm not going to write shit, but I'm excited to hear it.
I'll have to find myself some time in the next couple of days to do that. So, all right. Well, I think that is about all we have today. Kind of a shorter episode, but like I said, it's been a hell of a week.
Long week, 1 day left. Hopefully it goes good. Yeah, right. Hopefully it goes good. Everything goes smooth. And maybe like we can relax this weekend and not have to figure out how to make life continue working, some more.
Right? Yeah, and then we can have fashion show.
Right? We have fashion show.
Fashion show.
Fabulous.
All right. I
Once
love
things
you.
settle down, maybe we could go have some fun and make some new interesting stories or
Right.
have it, some talk about some more adventures.
Right. Well, I love you.
Summertime's busy. So love you too. Thanks for letting me on again. I mean,
I
as far as the
appreciate the
internet
help.
allows it.
So that's all for us today. I want to remind everybody to subscribe and check out my social media for more inappropriate shenanigans. I have X, Reddit, and Instagram, as well as FetLife, Facebook, and a website. That link and those to my social media will be in the podcast description. You'd be my hero for real if you'd check out my social media pages, put a review on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you listen, or share my podcast with your other inappropriate friends. So, if you had a good time with me today, and I'm always a good time, please subscribe so you don't miss out on a single riveting story, shocking confession, or just something dirty and funny. I love hearing your feedback, so feel free to message me on any of my social media. Thanks, and remember, if you can be Batman, always be Batman.